I'm a Jamaican born Canadian living in Canada right now. My name is Nikki, a young 17, 18-year-old. It was through her now, my newfound, I would say, second mother or such, right? Like I felt like she had me under her wings in that way. I should have thought that this lady doesn't like me. We've had fallouts, and now that she just came to my door and I just let her in, you know, slept off, and then the next day she's telling me, oh, she made me tea. I started fighting for myself, fighting for my life, fighting for my children. Decided not. She's stepping over all her obstacles. With her kings and queens, she's short and spicy, short and spicy. It's the love of God. She's holding her own. Welcome back to Short and Spicy Nikks. This is your girl Nikki speaking. How you guys doing today? Now, I know a lot of you have heard this story many times on this platform, but today I want to introduce myself to my new subscribers and my new viewers and just give you a short story that combines a few of the traumas I've endured and the reason I started this YouTube platform. But before we get into this video, don't forget to like, comment, share, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Put your notification bell on all so that you could be notified of new uploads and live stream. Now let's get into this story, my life story up till now. I'm a Jamaican born Canadian living in Canada right now. My name is Nikki, and I'm the product of two Jamaican parents. My father's Jamaican, my mother's Jamaican. My mother is still living in Jamaica. My father migrated to Canada, and so I migrated to Canada in 1992. Myself and my stepmother and my sister that was born in Jamaica from my father and my stepmother. Anyways, long story short, I went through a lot of abuse while I was a teenager. From a young child, I would say 9, 10 or so, growing up in Jamaica with my father and my stepmom. It was more physical abuse, being beaten with extension cord, or what would they call, not extension cord, cable cord, those thick cable cords, yeah, that you use to hook up your cable, yeah, cable TV. Not able to go outside, play with the kids, so very, very secluded and, groomed in a way where, always feeling so scared and, just scared. No, can't speak to them about anything, can't bring anything to them because it's like everything is just anger, or stern, or it's either work at home, do the chores, go to school, come back, all over again, and that was it. So when I came to Canada and was experiencing a little less of that, but in the same way still being groomed in that way, not allowed to go outside and can't go to school parties and stuff like that, we sneaked a lot, myself and my stepsisters. When they were not at the house, my father and my stepmother, I would take my younger siblings and go to friends, and especially during the summertime, not so much winter time, but summertime, and just make sure that I come home and the house is tidy and clean and everything. But it went from being physically abused, emotionally abused, verbally abused. I was always a joyful person, and that's a lot of like what my mother is like. laugh and everything. My mother's name is Joy, so that's a lot of where I get my joy from, I guess, from her personality. So I always like to make fun and, comedic kind of, and laugh. And my father would always tell me that, me and my laughy ways, it's gonna make me be easy for men, and, just make me feel a little low, like, like kind of insulting in ways. But like I said, I not only started experiencing, I wasn't just experiencing verbal abuse and physical and stuff, but my father was sexually abusing me, molestation, I guess they call it. It started by me waking up to him being at the bottom of my bed, removing the side of I was basically laid down like this, and he was, I was turned to this side of the bed, the end of the bed, and he was here, to the foot of the bed and towards the door. He was right there, and I felt the air passing here, and he was basically, I don't know if he was inspecting or what, but I just felt breeze, and when I woke up, he was there, and it just shocked the heck out of me, traumatized me, because from then on, that messed with my mind. That was always on my mind. I was always on guard, scared to go to my bed at nights, wrote a letter about it, put it in my drawer. My stepmom found it, and next thing I know, my father was basically interrogating me about the letter that I wrote. And, my stepmom knew, because it happened to my stepsister before that, my eldest stepsister, and she was never at the home. She left because, that was going on. Anyways, something happened where I finally left home, ran away, left at 16. Bounced from here to there, family members, you know who, friends of family members, and, ended up getting in a relationship, meeting my baby father, and it was a different type of trauma there, because he was a young guy, 2 years younger than I was, even though he lied and made it seem like we were the same age. And I got pregnant very fast, right away. First time we had intercourse, I was pregnant, or I should say the second time, but the same day, whatever, to be technical. He denied it because he is young and immature, and his mother basically convinced him that she got pregnant very young, and his sister that passed got pregnant very young, because he also had a nephew that his mother was taking care of, because his sister passed away shortly after childbirth. So for years, I was with my baby father. We have 4 children, but his mother from the onset was very toxic, but I don't know what I considered it as, or it was overshadowed by her try to portray being a nice person, because I was always with her. My baby father was in jail when I first got pregnant with my first child when he was 16. And it was her that I was really around, and she showed me a lot of things, and I basically learned about my baby father through her in that way. I would just always be at her house because he was in jail, and that's how I would be able to communicate with him. He would call, and, I would be able to speak to him on the phone. And when I had my firstborn, she was there and everything was okay. She was there the day she was at my house, because I had got my own place at that time. And first I was living in Scarborough, a city, with my aunt when I got pregnant, after bouncing all over the place, right? And I know I'm back and forth, but this is how the memory comes in and how I'm able to share it. But my aunt advised me to go to a pregnancy home in Scarborough, and that's what happened. I went there, but I would leave from the pregnancy home and go to Toronto and stay with my mother-in-law on the weekends. And there I would cook or bring food from the pregnancy home, make drops, all kind of Jamaican traditional food and stuff, and hang out with her. And, she had men staying there with her, 2 men that I know of. And, I consider them as family friends or a part of the family and stuff. Didn't know that this lady had a sick, sadistic mind. Because she covered it. Act like a, nice grandma, like giving and kind and give information. Very, down to earth, uses a lot of roots. What would you call it? Chamomile tea. She knows a lot of, those type of things, like, natural products, like, yeah. And, she didn't really use salt much. She, those type of natural herbs and stuff is what she really used. And, she'd make tea for me when I just got pregnant. I was spending a lot of time with her. And, I'm not used to those type of herbal stuff and tasted a little bad, but got used to it, so that's the type of person, always talking about black people and stuff, very, very racist, hated white people and all of that stuff. But for the most of it, seemed like she was very welcoming of her son having a child and, trying to guide me and stuff, like tell me stuff and, more like wanted things her way, wanted to portray or project what she does onto you. And anyways, when I had my firstborn, the day after, because my firstborn, the cord was wrapped around his neck and everything, and it was a long 26-hour labor. My doctor had to unwrap the cord from around his neck. Even the doctor that is was my family doctor, he was introduced to me by my mother-in-law. So almost everything, a young 17, 18-year-old, it was through her now, my newfound, I would say, second mother or such, right? Like I felt like she had me under her wings in that way. But right after I had my firstborn, my baby father called from a halfway house, because that's where he was. My whole pregnancy was in jail, and said that his mother said someone from the building that they lived at said that he was the father of the baby. And that was very confusing to me. I cried, but I didn't understand where that was coming from. If that really did happen, I would find out that she was lying the whole time. It eventually came to me, and it was, revealed that she was lying the whole time. And it's very long, but I went through a whole lot of stress and manipulation and heartache and lies from the same mother-in-law. Come years, I would find out that she was a very vindictive and evil person, from people that knew her, from one of the men that used to be at her house would come back and let me know, because we developed a close type of friendship, right? She even spread lies to my baby father's sister from his father's side, that I was sleeping with that said man. She was spreading all over Toronto that I took her man. It was just a whole lot of toxicness. And in 2007, I was diagnosed with anxiety and depression. And I thought it was from the trauma of what I went through, not growing up with my mother, what I experienced through my father and everything. And 2019, it was revealed to me that this was induced based on what took place during the time I was diagnosed. Going back, it's like 2005 or something like that. My mother-in-law, after not speaking to her, because after years of slowly finding out little things, not little, seem little, but each thing that she would do for no reason, like attack against me, I'd stopped dealing with her. Her son, my baby father, was in jail again, where he spent most of his life. She had popped up at my apartment, which I had never given her my address. His nephew and friends came to my apartment because one of his friends lived close by, and I guess they told her, even gave her, she has a way of getting information because they're not seeing it as anything. So she made it seem like everything was okay with her, and where's she? Yeah, I could just see her saying, "Well, where's Nikki?" And her grandson say, "Oh, this is where she live." Even my apartment door, she came straight to the door and knocked. And because he's my baby father, and I'm not seeing it as anything, I opened the door and let her in. And during that time, she made me tea. Me not thinking anything or knowing about how devious she was, I drank the tea. I got up one morning and all I heard was, because she'd get up early before everyone. From the time I know her, always be the first one out and in the kitchen. But I've never really said eaten from her like that because she can't cook. I would get up and make my own stuff. But she would get up and make things for the kids and stuff, and I didn't see it as a problem or anything wrong with it, But this time, I should have thought that this lady doesn't like me. We've had fallouts, and now that she just came to my door and I just let her in, slept off. And then the next day, she's telling me, oh, she made me tea. I went in the kitchen and I drank, tasted a little, and I'm like, I didn't like how it tasted because it was weird, but it didn't taste like mint tea, because I think I asked her what type of tea and she said mint, and I emptied the rest of the cup down the sink. But shortly after that, I got very sick. I developed H. pylori in my stomach. It's a bacteria that could lead to stomach ulcer and turn into cancer, stomach cancer and stuff. And she was there the whole time. She sent me to a herbalist, a Chinese herbal place down Spadina, and said to tell them what's wrong and tell them the root to give me. She even said to tell them but I don't remember exactly what happened. But years to find out now, this lady has been working with a wizard, or whatever you want to call them, doing witchcraft. I found out in 2019 that she wanted to take my life and been attempting to take my life this whole time because she's been jealous of me and the fact that I was in her son's life, and she's a psychopath. I don't know what her diagnosis is, but she always has these little bottles in her cupboard in the kitchen and stuff, but it's not what was prescribed on the bottles that she keeps in there. It's different things. But I'm not a person to go search down anyone's place to figure out what's going on. But that's basically what was going on the whole time. I always knew something was wrong with her because when I just met my baby father, she always had boxes, just boxes, cardboard boxes of paper in her living room. Her whole living room was lined with boxes on top. You couldn't find no space, no furniture really. 1-2 chair, and she has a table that she's always sitting around saying she's studying. But 2019, when I found out that she made an attempt at my life and gave my son, my firstborn, a vase to gift me, and that it was all a part of the witchcraft ritual and everything, I started being wiser. I became more wiser, and I realized that the problems that were going on in the relationship I've had over 20 years with her son, him cheating, verbal abuse, physical abuse that transpired in that relationship, like chronic cheating all the time, in and out of jail, toxic, just toxic. She got evicted, lived with me for 4 years. All of that took place and more during the time I've been with him. I started fighting for myself, fighting for my life, fighting for my children, decided not to have my children go around her, and my baby father turned against me. Have his girlfriend that he was with before he got arrested, and he was in jail in 2019. He went in 2015, 2016, and was doing the same thing out there, cheating and everything, and manipulating me, not letting me know the full for me to move on, because he wants his cake and to eat it too, which he's said to me while he's in jail, and just going through a whole lot. 2019, my son and I spent 2 weeks in the hospital after he took that vase from her and brought it home and everything, and tried to send her Obia man to come to my home, and I debunked all of that and rebuked it, and to really go from step to step, it's a whole lot. I document over 20 years of trauma dealing with this lady, how I survived 20 years of being with my children's father and his jealous mom. Just dark, evil, manipulation, setup, lies, all of it, and me constantly being ill in my bed, sleeping, and all of that stuff, that was going on back then, and my baby father out cheating and, trying to make it seem like something's wrong with me, and always defending his mother, never really respecting me in any shape or form. And it just made me become such a strong and wise person now. The person I am today, I'm so proud of. It's given me the strength where I can look at my experience and not be ashamed anymore. I see my purpose. I don't feel pity for myself. I do have PTSD, really severe PTSD. I suffer from a lot of physical pain, especially headaches, and I'm on medication for my anxiety and depression. But I'm now an advocate for mental health awareness because I see that lady is very ill. She has destroyed her son's life, her grandson, even her daughter that passed. It was because of her witchcraft and trying to unalive the baby, her grandson, his nephew, because she hated the man that her daughter was with. And it's just a line of generational curse and doom that she is placed over her children and their children. And to be a generational curse breaker, I feel proud. I've lost a lot of friends and family because while I was going through all of this, I was being labeled as crazy, mad. A lot of people took themselves away because I guess they didn't want to hear. It was too hard. It was too much. My baby father decided to fight against me instead of back me up. I find that as a gain because it really showed me who he was, and the experience had made me realize and uncover, taken off the veil off of a lot of people's faces, the pedestal, the level that I had them on, to bring them down to size, to show me exactly who they are. So it's also made my faith stronger during that time, I got baptized in 2020, and it strengthened my faith in God because I realized that during all of this, I would pray, I would go in my worship closet, my prayer closet, and I would cry, I would go on my stomach, I would cry, I would read my Bible, I would pray. I have a strong set of support, spiritual support, from some evangelists, some children of God that are very deep in the spirit. And I've learned to rely on God more and not people. I would share and encourage women today to stand in your truth. Don't be embarrassed by your past or your experiences. Let it strengthen you. Put God first. Put all your trust in God. And learn to love yourself and depend on you. Depend on God first. Ask Him for a way. Ask Him to direct you and lead you. And ask Him for destiny helpers, because He will place the people in your life to help you along your journey. Stay true to you. Love yourself. Love your children. Learn that you are enough. Don't sell your soul for anything or for anyone. Just know that you are blessed and highly favored.